a video on bread. I make quite a bit of bread. I make my own bread, and I have noticed that it's not turning out exactly how I want it. So I normally make sourdough bread, and you slice the bread before you bake it, and you get this lovely, as it bakes, you get this lovely split. And it hasn't been doing that for the last 18 months. And I think to myself, well, that might be down to my bread making technique. It might be down to my bread making knowledge. And that's generally what my thought generally is. If something goes wrong, it's highly likely that it's me. But then I was thinking that maybe it's because of the flour that I'm using. So I went through a stage of I picked up a lot of better quality, not better quality, that's the wrong thing to say, a bread that had a higher gluten stroke protein content in it that was cheap. So I used that for a long time. So I think to myself, I can't remember when I bought that bread, I can't remember when I stopped using it, but was it that the reason why my bread was better? Because from the last forever how long, I've just been buying the cheap stuff from the supermarket. Well, the cheaper bread flour from the supermarket, and there's not as much protein in it. So let me see without my glasses. So per 100 grams there is 11.7 grams worth of protein, and then I bought some better higher protein gluten flour, and this has in, you should say, 14.8. I can just about read that without my glasses. 14.8. So it's got a lot more gluten stroke protein in it. So is that right? Is it 14.8? Yes, that's right. Yeah, I got that right. So I've made a batch of bread with the higher gluten stroke protein content, very strong Canadian white bread flour. It's more expensive. It's like almost twice the price, in all honesty. And I just kind of want to clarify if it is me or if it's the flour that I'm using. If it's the flour, I'll make the decision if I want to carry on saving the money on the bread flour, or I want to invest more money in the better quality flour. That'll be like a personal choice. But if I kind of go, well, it's down to the flour that I'm using, I'll just carry on using the cheaper flour, and that's just how it is. And if I want to show off and do some fancy bread, I'll just buy some more expensive flour. You know, like, we're not made of money, are we? You know. So I've made a batch. I've done 3. I'm going to do 3 loaves. So we'll shape it. I've done the proving, all that kind of stuff. So let's shape it. The shaping might be the problem as well, but this is the technique that I used when when my bread turned out and it had the lovely split in it. So, and my bread making improved when I bought some proper proving baskets as well. So it's just not quite as good. Although I don't think it will be. But obviously my sourdough starter over time, it's a living thing and it changes. And I've never been able to keep my sourdough starter alive for more than 2 years, because eventually I think it just keeps fermenting and turning into alcohol, and then the alcohol starts killing the yeast. So I think that's kind of what happened. So this one's been, I've had it for about 2 years. The last one died, but then I changed the technique of how I keep my sourdough starter. So that's the technique. So what we're doing is we are pushing on the bottom of the dough there, and then that creates tension, so that pulls the dough tighter on the top so it comes nice and smooth, and then all the rough edges get pushed underneath, so we can see there, like that. So that's what I'm doing. It's a different technique than a lot of sourdough can use this. I've done a no knead sourdough, and that turned out pretty well. And then I also did a plain all-purpose flour bread, and that got that nice split in it. So I don't know if it's my technique or what, but anyway, so that in there like that. There will be a little bit of the cheaper bread flour in there, because that's what I've been feeding my sourdough starter on. So that in there like that, and then shower cap on top, and then we will prove it in the oven prove it in the fridge overnight, and then we'll bake it tomorrow morning, and then we'll have a look at it, and we'll see if it's me that's the problem. Most of the time it is, or it's the flour. The bread has been in the fridge overnight and proved. So, oven's on full. Cast iron pot is hot. Could do with a clean, but I only cook bread in it, so I'm not that bothered. And it was a cheap one from IKEA. Bought it years ago on a whim, and it was always in the back of the cupboard, and now I'm using it all the time. I wouldn't buy a expensive Le Creuset. I would buy a cheap one if I was to start again. I don't think you need a really expensive one, but anyway, so slice in one side, spray water on the other. If you spray the water on the bit that you've sliced, it will seize up the hole, and that's not what you want. So that in the oven for 25 minutes, and we'll see what happens. That's gone off. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. So I need to put another loaf of bread in. Oh, there we go. So we have got that split, which is not what's been happening with the cheaper bread. So that out, needs to do quickly, so I'm not going to stop the camera. So next one in, and then still holding the handle in my hand. I do think I'm quite awkward. That there. Water on that side, then that back in the oven, because I'm in a rush to get out as well. So that'll take 25 minutes on that one. Time it on. So we have got that split-ish. It's not like they used to be. I used to get like a proper split open that was like 3 times as good as that. Like 5 times as good as that. But it's not just my technique, it's also the flour that I'm using. So flour with a higher gluten content, protein content, will give you that nice split. There we go. So the question is, do you want the nice split, or do you want to buy cheaper flour and not have that nice split? I suppose really I should have a think about if I can get that nice split with the cheaper flour. So maybe I should look into that at some point in the future when I'm having a faff around with bread. Maybe change the technique of instead of doing the roll it in your hands technique, maybe do another technique, maybe kind of like fold it in on itself. Maybe rewatch the no knead plain flour bread video and kind of see what I did in that. But maybe. But anyway, so we've got a nice split. There we go. So it's the flour and not just me. But there we go. A success? Is it? Don't know.